Hi there, guys, and welcome back to Do You Still Watch Wrestling? We've got a special one for you guys today, a real special one. If you can see in the background there, you're seeing Vinnie Mac, Vincent Kennedy McMahon, and the news that's coming out of the wrestling world. Extraordinary news, big news. This is one of the biggest news in wrestling history. Vince McMahon has sold WWE. He has sold WWE. Anyway, before we start, just make sure that you like, share, subscribe, do all of that. I'm here with my co-host, Kojo, in the building. What's going on, my brother?
Hey, you know, we're talking business, so I thought I'd become a lot more professional. You see, I got my files behind me, you know what I'm saying? Hey, I'm good, man. How you doing?
I'm good, bro. Obviously, we've come off the back of WrestleMania 39. If you've not watched the show yet, please go and check it out. It's our recap and review for WrestleMania 39. Literally both days, myself and Kojo, we broke it down, gave you all the insights and our opinions of the matches. And then in the midst of that, there was big news that was announced. Major news that WWE has been sold. There's been rumors, for a long time. We spoke about this on the show as well in regards to possibly the Qatarians, or I think, was it in Qatar or Saudis? It was one of the Arab states anyway that were looking to invest and buy out WWE. It wasn't met with the greatest of appreciation and adulation in regards to that news. But then we're hearing that WWE has been sold to the Endeavor Group that owns UFC, which means that WWE and the UFC are merging. What's going on?
I don't know where to begin.
What's your take?
The parent company is called Endeavor, right?
Mm.
For anyone that doesn't know, so they run the UFC. They own the UFC. It doesn't mean they run the UFC. UFC still has their president, so WWE will still have their president. So Dana White and Nick Khan do their things. Still, the companies will still run the same. I think that's the whole point of Triple H going to the middle of the ring and saying we ain't going anywhere. Essentially, it ain't gonna be suddenly the WWUFC or like something stupid like that. It's gonna be UFC and WWE, two separate things. But apparently Vince has been looking to sell a company for a while. For anyone that doesn't know Vince's history, he has no loyalty, and I mean this. He will say that he loves WWE. He has no loyalty to wrestling, and the reason I say that is because anyone that knows their history and especially remembers a certain Paul Heyman promo of SmackDown, I think 2001. This whole monopoly that WWE has over the wrestling business that makes TNA and when they first came through it, and now AEW trying to fight the machine essentially, and become the better alternative product. His father, Vince McMahon's father, said to his son, "I'm going to give you this company, but do not go and buy out the rest and take out the opposition." And what did he do? He bought out the rest and took out the opposition.
WCW.
WCW, exactly the biggest competition. He wiped them off the face of the earth. And now they're just a footnote in the WWE network. But the point being, he has no loyalty. It's about his money. He makes his money. And if he sells to a company that makes sure they'll pay him good money and make sure that WWE is also making him money, he can't lose. And also puts him back in a position of power, he can't lose. But from what I've read so far, the reason why this deal was so easy to go through is because him and the owner of Endeavor are actually friends, and they've been friends for like 20 plus years.
Okay.
So this is very much a let's just do business together, make money together, let me still do my thing. But once you own the company, I think this is maybe for lack of a better word, let's use wrestling terms, a stipulation where if you buy this company, you gotta make me essentially what I was before. And I think that's where Vince has now managed to ease his way back into power, because before that, board members and everyone else were very much against Vince McMahon coming back. They had no interest. So in terms of like, if before we go into like the nitty gritty of it, basically it's two guys who are homies for 22 years plus, I think it is, if I remember the exact number. And yeah, I think Endeavor, obviously owning UFC and knowing what they've done for the UFC, making them more money in the last couple of years and everything. He said, oh, we can do that at WWE, make a sale, make more money for myself, everybody else, but also more importantly, it puts me back in power. So it's a power play by him. His first move was to get him back onto some level of the board so he can negotiate sales at least. But there was always a plan behind it. And anyone that knows Vincent McMahon, he is one hell of a conniving person.
Very shrewd businessman.
Very shrewd businessman. Very evil, but very shrewd. So, very shrewd. So, yeah. I mean, I don't know what you think. I mean,
yeah. So I'm just gonna give it a little, put some more information in regards to it. So obviously WWE and UFC, which is owned by the Endeavor Group now, merging to form a $21 billion global live sports and entertainment company now. $21 billion. This would equate to UFC obviously being 12.1 billion, and the WWE's valuation is 9.3 billion. I have spoken to a couple of non-wrestling fans who've dissed wrestling and continue to diss wrestling, and I just told them, do you understand that wrestling, or should I say WWE, has been sold for 9.3 billion? Let's just equate that to a recent global sporting team brand, and that's Manchester United, which is being there's a struggle in regards to obviously buying that for 6 billion.
Yeah.
This is Premier League. This is a Premier League team, Manchester United, global, football, and which many people consider WWE and wrestling as like, it's just fake and all that kind of stuff, but it's going for 9.3 billion. That is absolutely crazy.
That's insane money.
That is insane money. And no wonder Vince McMahon, when he was sitting in the that interview in presser and with the Endeavor, what's his name?
I forgot his name now.
Yeah, we'll grab his name very, very shortly. But he's sitting with the owner of Endeavor, and they look very comfortable. Pally, even with the questions that was being thrown at Vince McMahon in regards to the allegations, the scandal and all that kind of stuff. I've never seen a man so calm in my life. He's just like, yo, this is business. This is business. I do business.
Yes. The guy's name is Ari Emanuel.
Okay. Emmanuel. So he is now running. So basically, they're now the group that owns UFC and WWE. But as far as we are concerned right now, it's not going to be like a crossover between two companies and brands, although there's a big and long outstanding history between the two companies with the likes of Brock Lesnar, Ronda Rousey, who else? Ken Shamrock. We've seen, who's the Mexican? He's a heavyweight in Brock's category. He came with Rey Mysterio. Did he come down with Rey Mysterio? They fought at Crown Jewel with Brock.
He might have.
I forget the name. If you guys know the name,
Velasquez.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
So there has been a history of crossovers. There's been long talk of the likes of Conor McGregor, coming to the WWE. Would this make it a lot more easier now? Would we see the likes of Dana White maybe making appearances in WWE? Would the UFC benefit from the creative side of the entertainment? A lot of the time we see UFC stars trying to come out to the Undertaker's music, the Rock's music. You know what I mean? Maybe now there's going to be a bit more razzmatazz with the UFC. Who knows? I've often enough said that, sometimes it's a bit boring the way the UFC stars just come out of the ring or whatever. They need a few pyrotechnics and stuff like that.
Even
I don't
boxing's
know.
doing it, isn't it?
That's just me thinking out the box in regards to the merger, as they're calling it. But this is, apart from the WCW takeover, which was obviously entwined with the storyline of wrestling, but it was a real takeover.
Yep.
I think since maybe the passing of McMahon Sr., this is probably the biggest WWE news that's ever come about. Vince McMahon has sold WWE.
I think it's the biggest wrestling news, period. I think, you've got two main wrestling companies now, both by billionaire owners. But the level of money that we're talking about here is out of this world. You compared it to Manchester United. Man United's value has been up and down in terms of, because of debts and competition and everything over the years, but they're being touted for $6 billion. That's ridiculous money as it is. And this deal went for 9. 9, like it's actually astronomical. It doesn't make sense. And just for anyone that doesn't realize what kind of company is now owning WWE, I found something here that I was going to read out. I thought, like I said, we're doing business, so I can see behind you. You know what I'm saying? All right, so from what I read here, they used to be called WMEIMG, and that name stuck out to me because I remember that name because they bought the Miss Universe whole organization from Donald Trump in 2015. That's huge. Okay. That is huge. So you're talking about Miss Universe, Donald Trump, so Miss USA, that kind of stuff. All that, right? I think they did sell the no, actually, they haven't sold that. They sold television rights, but they haven't sold the actual, whole
show.
Yeah. They changed their name to Endeavor later on. But they also own, where is it here? Something to do with professional bull racing as well. Professional bull riders. That's it. The professional bull riders. So you obviously know the man that go and ride the bulls in America.
Yeah. Big in the States.
Yeah, and that's huge. It's huge money in that as well. So they're a serious company. I mean, they've always been a serious company. They don't waste time when it comes to making deals happen. They don't waste time with anything. In fact, they've had quite a lot of publicity, good and negative. This is what happens in America, especially with these kind of companies. I always say any billionaire is not a nice person, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But the merger is very interesting. And the reason why it's interesting is because WWE's shareholders and Endeavor shareholders are splitting something called like a trade called TKO is a symbol.
Okay.
Endeavor do 51% and WWE have 49%. So this is actually the first time, point blank period, that the McMahon family have no control over WWE anymore. Point blank period. So as much as, like I said, this is president, he can still do his thing. They are watching him do his thing. But if the day comes and they say, we don't want you here no more, he can get tough. They'll pay him his money. But I think for him, he doesn't mind that. Like I said, I don't feel like he has a passion for wrestling like that anymore. Makes his money, retires, fine. Because beforehand, it was, you're sacked, we don't want you here no more, and you owe WWE money, checking out the finances they've taken out from the company, plus the women that you have to pay because you've obviously, traumatized them and did what you did to them in the past. But this one guarantees him money. So there's a lot they could do here. I think more importantly, WWE is trying to prove themselves as more than just a wrestling company, their brand. And I think they've had that struggle for a long time because when you are the only wrestling entertainment company that's making big money, the urge to really push yourself out there is not really that big. You've seen it. They've switched between in the UK, they switched between Sky Sports and BT like it's nothing. In America, between Fox, USA, Peacock, whoever else has had them on their channel.
This is a season premiere.
Season premiere right here. Monday Night Raw. just they go everywhere. But I'm not saying AEW have a part to play in it. But what I'm saying is, when you've got another company that is now, one, able to offer good money, and two, you got to show that, yes, we are the big dogs, but we're going to tell you why we're better than them. In the last couple of months, they've shown themselves to be a proper wrestling company. WWE, Triple H, they've allowed certain terms come back in, so you see more wrestling matches on top of the entertainment side of it. But the one thing that WWE has over everything else is an extravaganza. It doesn't have no one else has a WrestleMania. No one else has a Survivor Series or a SummerSlam or a Royal Rumble and can glamorize it and give you the sets that they give you and give you the lights, camera, action that they give you and everything else. This is what we're about. So we're a brand. We're not just a wrestling company. We're a brand. And what UFC have done so well with this company anyway is UFC, like you said, real straight, rugged, walk through the you go through the curtain, just one straight walk. You get tapped down, you go into the octagon, flex your muscle a little bit, show that I'm here to show some business, and then a straight war. The only thing that was glamorized is Michael Buffer. Bruce Buffer, sorry. Bruce Buffer, yeah. Shout out Bruce, what a legend, right? If he wants to come and do announcements and main events of WrestleMania, I'm here for it, right? So you have Bruce Buffer doing that, but now the way that they advertise their shows, you said it as well, the razzmatazz of it, the extra. So I said boxing was doing that. You saw Anthony Joshua, he had K-Trap wrap him out. He had fireworks, he had an entrance, he even had a Titantron of his face doing his thing. If UFC are now slowly doing these things, more video packages, more glamorization of the thing, and even the light work is a lot better inside the octagon now. It adds to the experience for a fan as well. You're here to see a show. You're also here to people rock each other. WWE already provide that. But if WWE can provide that on another level, my goodness. And the first thing that comes to my head is Money in the Bank in the UK. Now, this is a real statement show here, and I'll tell you why, in my opinion. They are having Money in the Bank in the O2, right? AEW just announced that they're having a show in Wembley Stadium. We don't have to explain to you the difference in capacity sizes, man.
They're going to struggle at Wembley, man.
You know what? It's Wembley can fit Newham, yeah? The O2 can fit Canning Town. That's the difference, yeah? That's the difference. But the point being, like, if you can put on such a show in the O2 that says, wow, okay,
feel to the rafters.
Feel to the rafters and taking the game to a whole new level. Wembley's a cakewalk. Wembley, if I'm being honest, AEW can do that because also the Khan family are football owners, Fulham. So there's a little bit of a football connection there as well, so they can run that. They know about schedules, they know about times and all that. WWE apparently have been trying to get a Wembley show for years, but it's just not come to anything, which is fine. No problem. But now that you've got the chance to show that you can show the extravaganza, and UFC also do shows here in the O2, and if people have noticed, the capacity is slowly getting bigger, and they're looking at bigger stadiums, and they're looking at other cities, and looking to make more money. If WWE can do the same thing, I say if. Listen, when? Because that company, they don't play games.
That company, it looks like it's no joke.
They don't play games. And WWE do not play games. I always say this, from this business bit aside here, when someone feels like they're a proper threat to WWE will switch up on you and you will never see it coming. I'll go back to 2016 where people were getting really fed up of WWE, and then they did the brand split. They had that insane rivalry between Cena and AJ Styles on SmackDown. And that rivalry alone brought so many fans into one thing. And then NXT was doing crazy things on the outside as well. Raw does Raw. Raw is always going to be Raw. Whatever, say no more. And then they elevated the game. And just when you thought someone else was coming, yeah, man, sit back down. And then, of course, now, no one's really happy about Vince coming back in. But just when people thought AEW had the mantle, they were coming for the throne. What happened in the last 9 months?
Yeah, he's...
What happened in the last... So much so that the guy who said he would never work for WWE again because they are trash was now thinking about maybe I will go back because so-called people called EVPs in this company, aka who I'm talking about CM Punk here, went on a whole rant and ruined the company in one go and said, basically, your children here, what the hell's going on? Kind of thing, you know. It's just there's so much this business opportunity you can do. So me personally, I'm excited because one, I don't think this is going to be there too long anyway. I think it's going to be a bit more of a money maker in here. And I think it's a friend helping out a friend. If I'm going to be very honest here for a bit, we'll have to hold that. Fans are not going to be happy, but we have to hold that for a bit. But then eventually it's going to be a moment where we say, okay.
Also, I think maybe Vince has seen it this, like, look, if he's not around, you know, he's not around. I don't think anybody else can get this type of deal. You know, as much as Vince, your Triple H and stuff like that. Yeah, you're on the creative side, you're fantastic. But when it comes to the business acumen, the connections, no one else is getting this deal.
Fact.
No one else. WWE was not valued originally at 9.3, but Vince McMahon asked for that 9.3 and he got it. They asked him, was like, "Yo, did they? You know, they asked the what's his name,
Harry Emanuel.
They asked him, like, do you think that you've paid over the odds? He goes, what's over the odds? By the time you buy something and it makes you the money that you need and the success, it becomes successful, then you look back and you think to yourself, it wasn't over the odds. It's exactly what we needed to pay in order to make this business venture work. And it's all about business, you know. Sometimes we are kind of put off by, oh, it's over the odds. It's like, you know, in football, it's like, oh, you're paying way too much for that player, and then he comes and he bangs in 30 goals in the season, and you're like, oh, you know what? It's not actually that bad.
Yeah.
The way I see it now, I think WWE is, like you said, it's going to go to another level. They've proved themselves time and time again that when they want to switch up, they can. They've gone from WWF to being then WWE as a sports entertainment. They've switched up the belts. They've switched up the brands. They've, you know, bought out WCW. They keep evolving. And I think Vince McMahon has just always got his finger on the pulse when a move needs to be made. You can't just be hanging around. You can't just be allowing other companies to be the same as you. He wants to be fresh. He wants to be innovative. I also believe that, you know, we've seen WWE having ventures in the Arab states, in Saudi, with the Crown Jewel. I believe they also want to venture in other countries as well and establish base. And you're only going to need, you're only going to be able to do that with money, with a different type of business venture. So today it's in Saudi. Another place might be in I don't know, just other countries that are wealthy enough to bring WWE. They might want to establish a good base in the UK as well. Like you was alluding to, like maybe selling out Wembley on more than just a few occasions. There's so many things that they're going to be able to do. And then most importantly as well, the talent. They're going to be able to pay for the best talent.
The money.
Like, hands down. Like, you know, so that's going to be a real worry for the likes of the AEWs and, you know, the other talents in and around the wrestling world.
Let me say this, though. Let me say this. Because knowing how much of a villain Vince McMahon is, yeah, the UFC, even though they've been making bucket loads of money from this deal, they still kind of underpay their fighters. So there is a part of me that worries where they go, okay, let's say, for example, Kenny Omega, because there's rumors going around his contract's running out next year, or by the end of this year, rather, he might join the WWE. He might say, okay, I'm earning 1.2 million a year at AEW. What are you going to offer me? This guy, well, you come from AEW. So, as much as I don't still think you're good enough for the money that Roman Reigns is earning, and you know, so
you're not Roman Reigns.
You're not Roman Reigns, you know. So let's give you about 800,000 a year.
Ooh,
we'll give you that Dolph Ziggler money, and if you're good enough, you get an upgrade. But until then,
man said Dolph Ziggler money. Oh my!
I don't even know if Dolph Ziggler's on that money. That guy's doing comedy shows.
Do you know what? I even thought about it. This could even be a case where, like, where because they've got the money now and because they know that they can get the best talent, some of them's fringe guys might now be cast away as well. Like, nah, don't kind of need you, don't really fit in
Yeah.
the future plans of WWE. So it's going to be very interesting to see where WWE goes with this. Obviously, at Raw, Triple H made it very much apparent that WWE ain't going nowhere. They're still going to be performing. They're still going to be together. The fans, the talent, is still going to be ongoing, which I believe that is the case. I don't think WWE is going to change dramatically because what is literally brought the likes of the Endeavor to the dance to the deal, them purchasing WWE is for what WWE is. So
Yes.
they look at it and think it's like there's not much work that we need to do with this. All we're just going to give you is just the resources to perform at even a higher level. Like the WrestleMania for next year, I don't even know where it is, but I just know it's going to be crazy. That's WrestleMania 40. And as you said on the last show, it's all about the round numbers.
Yeah.
Not your WrestleMania 32 or 36. It's either 35, 25, 20, and now we're going into WrestleMania 40. So that is going to be a massive build up. But this is definitely a shock. We're going to bring you more information about this in terms of just literally like what it really, really means. We've given you our take on it. We've given you a few information about what the Endeavor group is all about, what this means for the UFC. Are they going to get the glitz and glam and the razzmatazz that, the WWE are, their writers and their show? Like, this is WWE is a show, and at the end of the day, whether it's boxing, UFC, or whatever, we want to be entertained. So there's elements of the UFC that I'm sure that they'll be able to pick and pull from the WWE, but more so, would the UFC also give WWE that slight more legitimacy? Because if you start seeing real fighters coming in WWE, I don't know. There's so much to pick and pull from there. Because as we said, there's a long-standing history between the both companies. Brock Lesnar, Ken Shamrock, Ronda Rousey's. So yeah, it's going to be real interesting. But when I heard this news, obviously we've been privy to knowing that WWE were looking to sell. So that in itself was a big shocker. But now to actually see that it's done, it's dusted, it's been confirmed. Vince McMahon, this has been his dad's company. And then you got the likes of Stephanie McMahon, you've got Shane McMahon. So this is a long lineage of this company, and it's been sold to the Endeavor Group. So it's just the future is bright, as they say, but we still don't know exactly what the impacts and the benefits and that both companies are going to go through.
I'll say this just on a more funny, jokey side, yeah. Even though a sly, not joke to it. Hey, yo, Vince, if you could bring Paige Van Zandt to the WWE, that would be great. Just want to see. Just want to see how good she is in the ring. That's it. Perfect.
Listen, we don't even know how long Vince McMahon's going to be around in regards to the executive. What's it? Executive. What's his role now?
Chief executive.
Chief executive. So you still got him in and around. A lot of people have not wanted Vince McMahon around, whether it's because of the allegations, the scandal, or if it's just the creative side that we're tired of the traditional Vince McMahon storylines. But he's still here, and he's still very much synonymous to the WWE brand. There's no WWE without Vince McMahon in it. No. So that's what we've got to bear with. But I'm sure he understands like the way Triple H has been handling things, the way Triple H has been running things in regards to the creative side. Hopefully he still gives him that opportunity to be as successful as he can during these next few years or so and onwards. But yeah, man, that's all we've got for you in regards to this news. Once again, Vince McMahon has sold his shares, his stake to the Endeavor Group. That was 51%, as we've mentioned, which means that the Endeavor Group are the head honchos of this whole merger and everything. So it's going to be very interesting to see how the future lies with them. So with that being said, we're going to leave you with that. Like I said, we're going to give you more information as we get it. But in the meantime, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, which is very, very important. And don't be afraid, man. Come on to these shows and give us your comments. If you want to find us on the socials, you can find us, myself, on a Dash of Sports on all social platforms. And then you got Kojo, free in midfield. We both also talk about football and stuff like that, but we also have a big, big passion for wrestling as well. So once again, on Do You Still Watch Wrestling? Until the next time, Kojo, next time. You can't see me. We'll catch you next time, man. Peace.
Peace.